It was a wonderful night here in the season opener at Georgia State Stadium in just about all aspects except for the final score. Georgia State drops its season opener to Tennessee State 17-10. You're watching the Georgia State Sports Update.
Tonight, right now, it's the most beautiful stadium in America. It's just unbelievable.
Georgia State football, baby. Y'all know what time it is.
Hi again, Panther fans from Georgia State Stadium. Final score 17-10. Georgia State, a tough one here as they lose the opener of the 2017 season to visiting Tennessee State by the final score against 17-10. Dave Cohen along with Brandon Leak, Harper LaBelle, Sam Crenshaw, the entire radio crew, and a tough one, a little bit of deja vu as you go back to Ball State a year ago. I hate to always refer back to last year, but, a tough way to start the season. Tennessee State comes in, Georgia State turns it over 4 times and has a tough time running the ball.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow start, Dave. A great-looking opening drive, and then we fumbled as we looked like we were marching towards the red zone. Ultimately, it just came down to mistakes and penalties at the wrong times. You had 4 turnovers in the game. You couldn't convert on a couple of 4th downs, especially one near the goal line, and so the little things kind of piled up at the end. But all that being said, the Panthers still had a chance to tie or win the game with their final possession, which is what you want when you prepare for a football game every week.
Again, a touchdown loss, 17-10. Harper, for Georgia State, tough time dealing with some of the pressure coming up front from Tennessee State's linemen.
Their defensive line did a great job of not only making pressure and making some of the passes that we had to get a little bit quicker than normal, but when you've got Collins, Sellers, North, some of those guys, great open field tackling, and you have to give them credit where it's due. They played much better on defense than I certainly thought that they would come out. They looked like they were in mid-season form. And that was one of the big differences in the ball game. You create pressure with their defensive line. Our offensive line needs to get a little bit better, and once we do, I think our ability to get the ball down the field will increase dramatically.
Sam, you're down on the sidelines with us during the radio broadcast, so you kind of see it from a different angle. Harper, noticing the pressure that Georgia State had a tough time dealing with from our angle upstairs. What did you see pacing the sideline?
Well, they had a hard time dealing with a very elusive quarterback in Treon Harris, who did a lot of damage with his legs. I mean, he did complete some passes, but when it looked like they were having a chance to get some pressure on him, he would find a lane to come out and get some yards and keep the yardsticks going, get the first downs for him. And that was one of the things that made the difference. They were able to sustain drives, have more offensive plays, and the Panthers were able to have this game.
Ultimately, Harper, at the end of the day, 49 yards rushing is not going to cut it. It's going to be tough to win football games if we're not able to run the football. To the contrary, they rushed it 238 total yards on 42 attempts.
Yeah, the biggest difference in the ball game from the statistical standpoint, time of possession, turnovers, and then you also include the running differential, and it's tough. I'm surprised that we kept the game as close as we did, but give credit where it's due. We will get better. I think the turnovers will decrease, and offensively we will start putting some points on the board.
Brandon, a lot of times football comes down to big plays. We talked about the 4 turnovers, so they were able to take advantage of some big plays. Other than the pass, really, I believe, to Ari, there was just really not a big play on either side of the ball for Georgia State tonight.
Yeah, our rewards showed a lot of explosive capability, and then the touchdown pass to Taz Bateman late showed that the Panthers do have some explosive players, but it takes being able to run the ball to set up the defense. It takes the offensive line protecting the quarterback throughout the game, so maybe you can have more than one or two of those opportunities. So hopefully we look at the film, we clean up some of the things that are correctable, and we find a way to score early. I think the biggest thing is you don't want to be in a position where you always have to be playing behind the 8 ball. You want to dictate tempo and pace of the game to your opponents.
Yep, getting off to a good start, and Georgia State was not able to do that tonight. They lose it here to Tennessee State by a final score of 17-10. Panthers off until September the 16th. They go on the road for the first time, and it'll be a tough one on the road at Penn State. Well, certainly it's a great facility, Georgia State with their own facility here at Georgia State Stadium, and it was really quite an event when head coach Sean Elliott brought the football team over here for the first time to see their brand new locker room at the stadium.
Welcome to your home, boys.
Use your ears to hit the road, hit the horn, make them big boy sales.
Yes, sir! It's game time, baby!
Back here in the Georgia State Sports Update this week at Georgia State Stadium. Tough loss for the Panthers in the opener. 17-10 loss to Tennessee State. Georgia State football for the first 7 years played inside the Georgia Dome, and it was a great experience that first season. A little bit of the luster came off as the team began to struggle in year 2, and here we are now in season number 8. Georgia State taking over what was Turner Field, the former home of the Atlanta Braves and Olympic Stadium, and they've turned it into a great football facility. Along with Brandon Leak and Harper LaBelle and Sam Crenshaw. You know, it's such a big difference. Again, the Dome was great that first year, but it's such a difference to have your own football stadium and, as we saw, your own locker room.
Yeah, you need to celebrate. This is a great achievement. I'm looking at it like the Roman Coliseum was first, then Taj Mahal, now Georgia State Stadium. It's going to be helpful for the coaching staff, for the players, for recruits, for people who grow up in the city of Atlanta. If you're in the 6th or 7th grade right now and you're going to be coming to the stadium and driving by as you grow up, maybe you'll want to play here. And it certainly will be one of the crown jewels of the Sun Belt Conference, and I think before it's all said and done, one of the better stadiums in all of college football.
Harper, you played college football, albeit out of Colorado State, and you played the National Football League. But anyway, from a player standpoint, you know what it means to have what they call the home field advantage. Now, granted, it didn't help in the opener, but eventually, hopefully, it will, and this will be or is the home of Georgia State football, as opposed to going over to the Dome and playing in somebody else's building.
Yeah, the fact that they've done so much to change the color scheme, the floor itself, the turf is brand new, everything about it, even the paint that they're putting on the inside, it's all going to be with a Georgia State motive, and it's going to be ownership, and it's ours, and you can do whatever you want with it, but they're going to take responsibility for it. And there were 100 recruits that were standing outside waiting for a pass to come and watch the game here tonight. It's going to be a tremendous advantage for the school and for the football program. It's going to trickle down into baseball and basketball as well. There will be other uses of the property around here, and it's just amazing.
Sam, real quick, you've covered sports as we have in this town for a long time. We saw it as Olympic Stadium in '96 for the Summer Olympic Games. We saw many baseball games here when the Braves were here. Georgia State, in a relatively short amount of time, has done a fantastic job renovating this stadium and turning into a great football facility.
They have, and it was great to be on the sideline, on the field during this game, just to feel just the atmosphere down there. The place filled up. We sold every ticket for this game. Crowd was loud and rowdy at some points during the game. It was just a different feel than we had in the Dome. And I think it's something that as fans come, especially the students come back for the games, they're going to really enjoy it. As Harper said, ownership. It's our house. It's our place. We'll take a lot of pride in it.
All right, we got to look at the team locker room in our previous segment. Right now, Chandon Sullivan, the quarterback for the football team, going to take us on a tour here of Georgia State Stadium and show us a little bit more of what the facility looks like inside and out.
I'm Chandon Sullivan, number 10, senior cornerback for Georgia State University, and I'm be your tour guide for today. Y'all in for a treat. We're going to reveal one of the best stadiums in the country, Georgia State Stadium. And it all starts here. The buses let us off. As a team, we walk through, greeting family, friends, and alumni as we make our way onto the field and into our locker room. And here we have a brand new Georgia State football locker room. It's one of the better ones in the country, giving Alabama, Oregon, all the top teams in the country a run for their money. It's about 50 yards long, and it has about 115 lockers in here. So let's take a look at mine real quick. Now this is my locker. It's pretty unique. See our helmets are glowing up right here. And the inside, we can actually charge our phones during the game, so that comes in handy. At the top, this is actually where they put our shoulder pads at. Shoulder pads, gloves, and at the bottom is where our cleats and stuff go. So it's pretty cool. The biggest locker room, bigger locker I've ever had. You can sit down, relax, take a nap, do whatever you need to do to get ready for the game. Now, we're actually standing in the no-fly zone area, and the reason I say that is this is all where the secondary meets up, from cornerbacks to safeties. It's where we meet up before the game, say any last-minute prayers or make any last-minute adjustments before we hit the field. Now here's the main tunnel where we come out right before the game. We just made the long walk from the locker room. Our heads are full of emotions, and once we hit the turf, we finally see the fans, you see your friends and family, and you realize it's finally here. All the hard work, everything you put into it leading up to that moment, running through your head, you're sick to your stomach, and you just can't wait to play. Smoke rises, and then it's time to go. And we're out to our sideline. Now, one of the coolest things about our stadium is our Jumbotron. It's actually the 8th largest in college football, and it's a gift and a curse. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. You make a bad play, everybody sees it. But if you make a good play, everybody sees it. And my intentions are to come out here and make great plays so everybody can see what I do best, and that's, play football. Okay, here's our side tunnel. This leads directly from the locker room. This is where we come out at halftime as we walk onto the field towards our sideline and get ready to start the second half.
Thanks for that tour, Chandon. You can really see how the Panthers are excited to play in this brand new stadium here, Georgia State Stadium. And if you really want a good perspective on what it means to play here and everything that has happened in a relatively short amount of time, you need go no further than talking to Georgia State's first head football coach, Bill Curry, who was at the season opener here at Georgia State Stadium. And he was here when there was barely a football and a helmet. We had a chance to talk to him at the season opener against Tennessee State here at the stadium.
Well, I'm overwhelmed by getting to see my guys. I didn't expect this. It's really very emotional because this was a labor of love for all of us. Every single one of these people you see here showed up with nothing assured and gave their heart and soul to try to make this kind of thing happen. And this is the next big step. I'm not sure I could have envisioned. A lot of things had to happen that we didn't anticipate to have this stadium, but not just to have this stadium, but to have it shaped in the fashion that it is so that it really is a great football venue. It will change everything for Georgia State football. But tonight, right now, it's the most beautiful stadium in America. It's just unbelievable.
Always great to see Coach Curry here at the Georgia State Football Stadium. The Panthers, though, a tough loss tonight. But, again, Coach Curry, great to see him out here. A lot of his former players were at the season opening game against Tennessee State. That's great to see as well. And, again, when you talk Georgia State football, first head coach, a guy who has a perspective on where this program started from and where it is as of 2017, is Coach Curry.
Yeah, from the very beginning, Coach Curry obviously was recruiting in the infancy here of that program. And one of the guys he brought in, Nate Paxton, who played with him for a couple of years, and now his brother Jamal is on the team now. So the two Paxton brothers at different times are a part of this university and getting to experience Panther football.
And both ended up with scholarships. First Nate, now Jamal, and it falls under what Coach Elliott has preached, and that is nothing given, everything earned.
We got a young man in this room that I've watched in the last 7 months work his off, fight for everything, say nothing, do a thankless job, and continues to fight. Doesn't blink an eye at anything that's asked of him. I mean, he exemplifies everything that we will be as a team this year. Everything as a team. And he does it for free. He does it for free. Today, we order you a full scholarship.
That's probably the best thing that ever happened to me right there. It was like a burden lifted right off my shoulders. I don't have to ask my parents to, try to help me do the FAFSA and pay for school and stuff like that. Everything taken care of, finally get books and stuff like that. Have a constant food to eat, stuff like that. Got a place to stay.
Like my family, we go through a lot of things together, struggling and whatnot, but like just seeing them enjoying the moment, basically, just in tears, happy, joyful about us, another one of us getting a scholarship. So it was definitely a big moment for our family.
Some great video of there at the Georgia State practice facility as Jamal Paxton is, announced that he's going to receive a scholarship. And, we talked about Nate Paxton and now Jamal Paxton. They've been around the program, Brandon, for a number of years. And Brian Williams, who's now here in his 6th year, has been here. And his brother, Arthur Bully Williams, was here right from the get-go under Coach Curry first year. So we've got some families that have really, dotted the years here for Georgia State football.
Yeah, Brian Williams, he's seen 3 coaches, 2 stadiums, 2 ADs. My goodness, he's seen it all. So you have some guys that have been a part of the program, and they've been some contributors as well. So it's always good to have good people stay for a long time and then have some good stories and some good contributions to give to the university as well.
Sam, for Georgia State, they've got a little bit of time off right now, and Penn State is looming on the 16th of September. It's one of those games, the Tennessee State game, if you lose it, it feels like an eternity till the second game. If you win it, you walk with a little bit of an extra skip in your step heading into your second game, and for us, it's the former.
Yeah, if you lose one like this, you can't wait to get back out on the field. You want to get back out there and make those corrections and go out and get a win. Unfortunately, that's not the way this schedule sets up. They got to wait. But you hate to refer to last season, kind of that place, and then going into a big game. That's kind of what we got coming up now with Penn State coming up next. Maybe they can have one of those Wisconsin-like performances in that one. That would be great to see.
And Harper, as I said, for Georgia State, now back to the practice field. And as Coach Elliott told us in the postgame on the radio, got to get back and get ready for a very, very tough opponent and put this one behind us.
A lot of hard work that needs to get done between now and Penn State. So correct a few things that you can and heal up when you need to and get a little bit better.
All right, final score. Tennessee State comes into Atlanta, beats Georgia State 17-10. Right now, let's take a look at some of the game highlights. Some of the highlights from last Thursday night's Georgia State football game, a 17-10 loss to Tennessee State. And right now, joined by head coach Sean Elliott from the Georgia State football locker room, a great facility here at Georgia State Stadium. Coach, I know you've had a chance, I'm sure, maybe more than once, to go back and watch some film of this game. I'm sure you were not a happy camper right afterwards. You may still not be a happy camper, but as time goes on and you've watched some film, I'm sure you've pulled some positives out of the game last Thursday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I sat there and witnessed it in person, and then I didn't sleep all night and, reran it through my head over and over and over again. Had a chance to go back and watch it, and, there's some positive things. I thought special teams-wise was pretty positive. Some individual efforts were pretty pleasing, but all in all, we've got to play better as a football team, minimize the big run, and, the turnovers just, you can't have those turnovers.
Right. Yeah, you really could title this one a game of missed opportunities. Well, aside from the turnovers, the two turnovers on fourth down, I mean, there were opportunities we just were not able to take advantage of.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. We come out, we start the game, we got a great kickoff coverage. I think we stop them inside the 20 right there, 3 and out, get the ball back. We got a great first down run, 6-yard carry, and another pass that we complete. Momentum is on our side, and then we go through and we have a missed assignment up front. We got to run through by the front side Mike linebacker that causes a fumble in the third play. And with a team like we've got, it's probably a fragile football team. To tell you the truth, you would hope they would have gained confidence and not let one play disturb them, kind of like it did. But it kind of let the sails out just a hair, and you could feel the air go a little bit out of us. But they fought hard, and to have a chance to go back and when you're down and you fight back and so many things have happened. 5 turnovers have happened, 2 turnovers on downs, and have a chance to go drive to tie the game and potentially a 2-pointer to win it.
Right.
That says something about our team.
Let me ask you a question away from the game, because we talked about this on your radio pregame show prior to the radio broadcast about trying to contain their emotions a little bit. We had a great crowd in there, a little over 25,000. Stadium looked great. What was your feeling with regards to how they were emotionally right before you were to run on the field? And then you get out there, and it's a great crowd, and it was a great atmosphere, great college football atmosphere.
I thought the guys were good. I thought they were focused. I didn't think they were overwhelmed. I didn't think they were too juiced up. I thought they handled that situation pretty correctly, the way I had hoped it. The one thing is that just when the missed assignments occurred and the turnovers happened, and you could just see the confidence come out of them. And not that they were overconfident by no means. This group does not need to be overconfident in any way, but they just didn't have that well, we're going to get it back, and then until something good would happen. So they handled the excitement. It was a great crowd and everything like that, and we certainly do appreciate all our fans and supporters, but we just got to get a better product out there.
Defense gave this team again an opportunity, and I remember asking you again on the radio show about impact players. DeAndre Applin, one of the new faces, leads the way with 9 tackles.
He sure did. Physical player, DeAndre first start and goes out there and does a great job for us defensively. I think he had 2 missed assignments, but other than that, he was a sharp tackler, physical, and pleased to see him go out there. Like I said, he's a newcomer. He's only been here, start of August, practicing 27 opportunities.
Right.
So we look for bigger and better things out of him.
Again, he led the way with 9, DeAndre Applin did, and then 2 of the names that we've called quite a bit, Trey Payne, Brian Williams. Brian, of course, back for technically his 6th season, right behind him with 8 tackles apiece. So the linebackers were busy in that game as well.
Yeah, your safeties, when they're making a lot of the tackles, that's not so good. We like for them backers to be up and more down the line. D lineman making some tackles, but those guys, for the most part, there was about 3 or 4 big runs in that ball game. I think 2 of the runs were culminated in something like 60, 70 yards, and if you take those 2 out, they rush for about 150 yards on those guys. So we got to keep them contained. We got to tackle better. We got to fit better. But all in all, that defense gave us a chance to go down there and score and tie the game up.
Yeah, I remember as well, we talked about the fact that you had seen their quarterback at least on 2 occasions. Was he everything that you expected, and as much of a problem that he was? It's not that he threw the ball pretty well, but it's those legs that seem to cause more of a problem.
You know, going into the game, I wasn't all that concerned about him throwing the football to beat us, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I thought his legs would be the difference. I thought he had a little bit more get up and go than probably what we do. To tell you the truth, when you look at athlete upon athlete, or when you stack them up against one another, he has that extra gear, and he made those plays with his legs. I mean, there when we played the screen perfectly. I mean, when I say played it perfectly, and then for him to pull it down and go for the score on a scramble is just, you know, it's just one of those things, and you see why he's such a good football player.
Yeah, again, we're talking to Georgia State's head football coach as we review Georgia State's Tennessee State game. How is Connor Manning?
He's fine. He's fine. He actually got dinged in the head by our offensive tackle. He wasn't touched, you know, so he's fine. He's in that concussion protocol, which we certainly want to follow, and he'll be ready to go on Monday.
And what'd you think of Aaron as Aaron comes in?
You know, Aaron came in, and you know, it was a little bit different than practice. And Aaron's a little bit more under control in practice, makes better decisions, and a little bit calmer. Got in the game, I thought he was a little jittery. I thought he was a little bit all over the place, but he's a competitor. He goes out there, and we've got to get him out of those situations where it's not too big for him, but where he's able to control himself.
Yeah.
You know, he's an emotional guy, and the practice field has got to carry over to the playing field, to that game day. And I just thought he got out there, and he's a little bit too amped up to go out there and play. You know, but you know, that comes with experience. That comes with reps, and you know, he's a fine football player, and we're gonna get him better.
All right, well, I'm sure the one number that jumped out at you, and we talked about the running game, the rushing yards, only 49.
Yeah, you know, so that's a bad sign. You know, not many good football teams can go in there and rush for 49 yards, and you know, it's just that's got to develop, and that's got to develop up front, from those 5 guys up front to our tight ends, to our wideouts, to tell you the truth. You know, we had, I think, 2 penalties on the edge. I mean, we were on a speed option. I think we gained 27, 30 yards just to be negated for a holding penalty on out there. And, you know, both of them were on Penny Hart. And Penny does the first job. First time they called him, he's doing an exceptional job. He's got great hands inside. And, I mean, he is blocking his tail off. And then the second one, he gets a little hands outside. But, you know, we've got to manage the game from the 5 guys up front to have the ability to run the football. And they certainly couldn't do it this past weekend, last Thursday night. But they'll get better. They're working to improve every single day. They had a tough one today to try to get that figured out.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Best of luck. Good, a good off week, but a good practice off week for you guys. And we'll see you here next week.
You know, I told our football team there's a lot of hard lessons to be learned in a game like this. And we certainly didn't go in thinking it was going to be an easy game by any stretch. We've got a football team that's got to find itself. We've got to progress, and we will continue to get better. We're not satisfied. I said, listen, one game doesn't make or break a season.
Yep.
We've got to go out and improve each and every week and fight hard and come together. You know, come together as a team and truly trust one another and love one another. And then we'll go out and we'll be a better football team next time we take the field.
All right. I want to thank Georgia State's head football coach, Sean Elliott, for the entire crew. I'm Dave Cohen. Thanks for watching this week. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia State Sports Update.